Good morning. We're calling the Community College Committee to order for the Nevada System of Higher Education. If we could have a roll call, please.
Chair Del Carlo, Vice Chair Lieberman,
Present.
Regent Carvalho,
Here.
Regent McAdoo,
Here.
Regent McMichael,
Here.
Regent Moran. You have a quorum present. Advisory members roll call. Mr. Robison?
This is Regent Del Carlo. I'm here too.
Thank you. Mr. Robison?
Yes, here.
Mr. Hooper? Ms. North?
Present.
Thank you.
And I'm here too, Karin Hilderson.
Thank you. We'll move into public comment. Public comment will be taken at this time. Please keep it relevant and keep it to 3 minutes or under. If it's not on this agenda, please wait until this afternoon for the full board meeting. Is there any public comment in Las Vegas?
Yes.
Please state your name for the record.
Is the microphone on? There we go. All right. Jason Elias with the American Association of University Professors. Esteemed Regents, thank you for allowing me to speak at your committee this morning. As you know, I want to thank you and congratulate our unit at Western Nevada College for settling their collective bargaining agreement with you. We've been negotiating at CSN, as you know, for several years. I took over several years ago, about a year and a half ago, and we've been stuck, frankly. We were making progress on a binding grievance arbitration article, not interest arbitration. Interest arbitration is when you go to an arbitrator and they settle disputes concerning what you want to bargain in a contract, your wages, everything else. What we're talking about is binding grievance arbitration, which is in 99% of all union contracts in the United States. We keep hearing about the Regents taking position on this, well outside of the mainstream. According to what I've heard is that the Regents are against it. Well, if you're against it, then you are. Then the system has been bargaining in bad faith with us because we made some advance. We traded several proposals between the two of us. Sorry, coffee is beginning to kick in, but it's not quite there yet. And all we ask is for the system to continue to bargain in good faith with us. If you're against binding grievance arbitration, what that means is you will force faculty to go to court every single time we have a small dispute with you, which means you'll be spending taxpayer dollars to go to court rather than to settle it in binding neutral third-party arbitration, which is expedited and which is the mainstream for collective bargaining agreements. You'll hear a little bit later from faculty, but I wanted to give the opportunity to frame this issue. We've been 3 years negotiating. All I ask is for the Regents to help us read some of the literature. I'm happy to give you the information that you need to make an informed decision, but to be against binding grievance arbitration is to be against what most management and labor say in the academic arena, that it keeps us out of court and keeps the peace between workers, faculty, and managers, which is the administration. So we ask you to please agendize this for your December meeting and help direct the chancellor to move forward. Thank you so much, and I hope to engage with you a little bit later on today as well.
Thank you for your comments. Any other public comment in Las Vegas? Any public comment in Reno?
No public comment in Reno?
Any public comment in Elko?
No public comment from Elko.
Thank you. We'll close public comment at this time, and we'll move into approval of minutes from the September 6th, 2019 minutes. I'll entertain a motion to approve.
I'll move to approve.
Motion by Regent Carvalho. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Regent McAdoo. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed or abstentions? Motion passes. Regent DiCarlo is with us. Chair DiCarlo is with us via satellite from the ACCT convention. Chair DiCarlo, your remarks, please.
Thank you, Chair Lieberman, and good morning, everyone from beautiful San Francisco, overlooking the bay here. I just want to encourage the IAC chairs that are on the call to just be really active in your with your group. And I want to support Vice Chancellor McKinnon on our last call, gave you a charge, and I hope you're working strong with that, because we really do want to look at our charge with the Institutional Advisory Council. As you review it, if we need amendments, I really feel these councils are important, and we are upholding what the legislature asked us to do. So let's see. And as far as we're at the ACCT conference, I really hope that members of this committee will plan to attend next year. This is just an amazing conference. It's my third. I was able to go to Las Vegas. We had it there a couple of years ago, but next year it's going to be in Chicago. The dates are September 30th to October 3rd. This is the third largest attended conference they've had. We have 1,800 people from all over community colleges in the United States, and the value of this is all the learning that you do. They have the day set up into 6 different topics, basically, and you pick the seminars you want to go to. And there's too many seminars to even you don't have time for them. There's so many good ones. So hopefully we can get more of us here. We actually have 3 votes for Nevada, and it's based on our community college population, and the voting's done to elect the delegates at large and by region. And Nevada's in the Pacific region, just so you know that. And because I've learned this as I've come along. And ACCT is celebrating its 50th anniversary as an organization, and it's the premier organization for, well, they call them trustees, but it's regents too. We're regents. They call them trustees. It's semantics. And we had, just so you know, we'll give you more information later. We had a really good update on legislative affairs, and it was AACC plus ACCT. And I have to throw out a figure to you. It's for every $100 that the Pell gets increased, equates out to $600 million more in the budget, which is just a really big number. But it's really being thoroughly examined in Congress, and hopefully with our lobbying efforts, we'll have a better bill for our students. And one of the biggest things they're looking at is adding Pell eligibility to people in prison. They used to have it. They took it away, I think, as a cost savings. But I think most of us agree that if we could help these people that are not horrible offenders, that are just, most of them are in there for drugs, get them rehabilitated and back in society, we're all better off. So, and tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock, Cara and I are going to be presenting a seminar called Using Shared Governance Systems to Improve Student Success. And it's a tough time to give a 1-hour topic seminar, since the banquet's tonight and it's scheduled to end at 10. So we are marketing our talk and have been, and exchanging promises to attend each other. So hopefully we'll have a good turnout tomorrow. So that's all I have. And thank you, Sam, so much, Vice Chair Lieberman, for chairing this meeting today.
Thank you very much. And just a little bit of institutional knowledge. In recent years, NSHE has been very involved with ACCT. Former Regent Stevens was on their audit committee. Chair DiCarlo is on their nominating committee. I've been to several of their conventions. I will be in Chicago next year, and I am being considered for the nominating committee later this year. I'm sorry, for the diversity committee later this year. So we do have a presence there, and I think it's very important. Vice Chancellor McKinnon, your report, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chairman. Appreciate your leadership today, and thank you to Chair Del Carlo for her report. Good morning, everyone. Happy Friday. Hope everyone's October's going well. I have just a few items I'd like to provide an update to the committee on. First of all, I would like to welcome a new IAC chairperson, and that is Mr. Randy Robison from CSN. Randy is here with us in Las Vegas today, and Randy was elected chair at the last CSN Institutional Advisory Council meeting. We're very excited to have you here, Randy. And Randy joins, as you remember at our last meeting, we introduced BJ North as the new chair for the TMCC Institutional Advisory Council. And I'm also pleased to report that GBC and Western at their upcoming meetings will have elections for chair as well. And so, and Rob's continued to be a chair for Western Nevada College and is with us in Reno. So a lot of exciting new blood into the IACs. Randy's not new to the IAC. He's been on the IAC for some time, and he's also served most recently as vice chair. We're very excited to have him here. And as a reminder, and Chair Del Carlo mentioned this, IAC chairs are ex officio members of the Community College Committee. They show up on your agenda as advisory members. And so we really appreciate all of their involvement in the Community College Committee of the board. Along that same line, at each of the recent IAC meetings, I have provided a request from where I sit as Vice Chancellor for Community Colleges to each IAC to please review the charge language that established the IACs and provide feedback to me, ideally by the end of this calendar year, on what, if any, changes they would recommend to that charge language. One of the challenges with our IACs is the charge language is incredibly broad, which is great, but also a bit of a challenge for members in terms of figuring out direction and how to best be of value to the college and the college be of value to the IAC members. So each IAC is looking to put that on their future agenda as a topic item. And the current structure is the IACs are established in the procedures and guidelines manual of the board, and that's where the charge language lives. So we're hopeful that we'll get some good feedback on things we might look at as to how we improve the institutional advisory councils. They've been around for a number of years, and since I've been here, 2017, there hasn't been any concerted look at how we could possibly revisit the language and improve it if necessary. So we're very excited to have that happen as well. The new I've talked in the past about the position of apprenticeship navigator at NSHE. This is a position that is funded entirely from our partners in the state, from both the Governor's Office of Workforce Innovation as well as the Department of Employment Training and Rehabilitation, DETR. So DETR and Owen have funded a position at NSHE for apprenticeship navigator. We've had a challenge finding somebody for that role. I am delighted to announce that Ms. Cheryl Olson will be taking on that role on October 28th. Will be her first day. Some of you may recognize Cheryl's name. She previously had worked at TMCC and had gone to DC to work on apprenticeships nationally, is coming back to Reno for other reasons, and we are very fortunate that that will work out as she is one of few people in the state who has such extensive experience working with registered apprenticeship programs. So we're very excited to have her be a part of the team at NSHE. Working in partnership with Owen, our community colleges, and employers around the state to expand apprenticeships opportunities. We had a presentation earlier this year on the Starfish platform. That's the early alert and learning management system, student success management system that's in place at all 4 community colleges. Our friends at Western and GBC are getting it up and running for this current year. That's not an easy task. It's time consuming on the staff at the college. Because there's a lot of technical integrations there, and it hasn't come without challenges along the way. But I am pleased to report progress is being made at both institutions. I think GBC has gone live with some parts of it already, and hopefully WNC will soon. And TMCC and CSN continue to expand their offerings with the platform. And I think I've said before, but as a adjunct faculty member, I find it very useful to be able to refer when there's a student who's struggling, and being able to refer them directly to services that can provide support for a student, and hopefully cut off any problem at the pass before the student decides they're just going to withdraw or fail. We continue to focus as the community colleges on the issue of shared services and how to best leverage our 4 institutions. Starfish was a great example of that, and in conversations with all 4 presidents, we've prioritized that as work for this current year, and I'm pleased to be involved in that, and hopefully we'll be moving forward in a more concerted effort on shared services to ensure that we're being as efficient as possible with the limited dollars that we have. The last thing I'd like to report, Mr. Vice Chairman, is the Nevada Promise Scholarship. The scholarship, I'm pleased to report we have, as of right now, approximately 10,000 new applicants for next year. So I'll say that again, approximately 10,000 new applicants right now for next year. Students have until October 31st to apply. So please, if you know anyone who's a high school senior, if you know anyone who knows someone who's a high school senior in the state of Nevada, please tell them to apply. If they miss that deadline, they can't continue beyond that. And we are also pleased to report that as of approximately mid-September, our enrollment was at 1,693 students across the state. So 1,693 across the state enrolled currently at a community college using the Nevada Promise Scholarship. So that program is proving to be very effective, and we're very excited about that. And the last thing I'll mention on the Nevada Promise is that we are in the process of finalizing the procedures and guidelines as authorized by this committee at the September meeting with the specific deadlines, et cetera, and more minute details in administering the program. Mr. Vice Chairman, that concludes my report. We have a very exciting agenda today, and I'll be happy to take any questions.
Thank you very much for your report. Thank you very much for your work. Is there any questions from the committee or other regions who may not be on the committee?
Mr. Chairman, or Vice Chair, Mr. Vice Chairman.
Go ahead, Randy. I'm sorry.
That's fine. Thank you, Mr. Vice Chairman. I appreciate it. Randy Robinson. Mr. Vice Chancellor, on the Promise Scholarship, I know we're still in the beginning stages, early stages. It's growing great. It's doing wonderful. But a question about that last statistic that you shared, 1,600 plus students who are enrolled and using the Promise Scholarship. Is that number, is that sort of capped by the amount of dollars currently allocated, or is there more dollars that haven't been used and we just haven't reached all the students? Or could you drill down on that a little bit for me, please?
Sure. Nate McKinnon for the record. The number is not capped by any means right now. We've not hit a point of running out of money at this point. That is a concern I have shared for our next year, the second year of the biennium. And we'll see how we're doing towards the end of this year with what remains in that account. But there's no limitation on that right now from a perspective of financial resources on our side. I think one thing to keep in mind is that students, there are students who go through all the steps for Nevada Promise and then get a full Pell Grant, for example, and may not need the dollars from the Nevada Promise Scholarship. That's still a win from our perspective, and they wouldn't be included in this enrollment number of 1,693.
Regent McAdoo.
Yes, Vice Chancellor McKinnon. So can you reiterate the amount of money we had last year and what we will have for this coming year? Promise Scholars. Do you know that right off the top of your head?
Thanks, Nate McKinnon, for the record. Regent, I don't know the remaining balance off the top of my head. I'd have to go back and look at that.
Okay.
I believe we received an additional, I want to say 3.5 million, but I need to verify that as well for
Okay.
the next year, for this current biennium. But the thing about the Promise Scholarship account is that it does allow the monies to roll over.
Right.
So we did have some money left over, because if you remember in the first biennium, we only had, the 2-year biennium, only one of those years actually had students enrolled in the biennium, because the first year was entirely getting ready with having new applicants from high schools. So we only had 1 year of utilization in the first year. And then this year, we're now not only 2 years of utilization, but now we're getting to the point, and this is where the challenge comes, is you have multiple cohorts, because students can stay enrolled up to 3 years to utilize the Nevada Promise Scholarship.
So may I request that sometime before the next meeting, you send those figures out to us?
More than happy to do so.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Before we move on, is there any other final questions? Seeing none, we'll move into agenda item number 5, WMC website and on-base initiatives. Ryan Swain, or a member of the team,
Can I make a comment, Mr. Chairman?
please.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chairman. Nate McKinnon for the record. We're very excited to bring this presentation to you today from Reno on web enrollment initiatives at WNC in particular, from Mr. Swain, Mr. Wadsworth, and Ms. Sankaran. I'd like to ask, if I could, President Solis, to just provide a brief introduction to this topic.
Good morning, members of the committee. Vice Chancellor McKinnon, Vince Solis for the record. Today we have members of the WNC team that have been working on, as this states, the enrollment initiatives. We've been trying to streamline our initiatives in terms of how students enroll to campus via our technology platforms. We've also worked on some website redesigns to make sure the students can find information easily and access things that they need to enroll on campus. So with that, I'll turn it over to Mr. Ryan Swain, who's been leading the efforts to make these changes.
Thanks, sir. Good morning. I'd like to thank the committee for allowing us the opportunity to present what we've been doing. As President Solis said, we have been focusing on increasing enrollment across the campus, and we engaged in a couple initiatives to revamp the website, as well as some on-base initiatives that allow us to better engage with students and improve student success and retention. As Dr. Solis said, I'm Ryan Swain. I'm the Director of Computing Services. I'm also here with Troy Wadsworth, our System Administrator, and Kayla Sankaran, our Webmaster. So if we could go on to the next slide, please. I just want a quick overview. I'll provide an overview, talk about why these initiatives came about, how we went into our decision making, and then Kayla will we'll talk about the website redesign in greater depth, and Troy will talk about our on-base initiatives. Next slide, please. So for the last year or so, we've really had a focus on increasing enrollment, student success and retention. In spring of this year, we had Ruffalo Noel Levitz come through. They provided us with a lot of recommendations based on our current stance. And based on those recommendations, our enrollment and retention committee developed some key initiatives that we wanted to focus on. We were looking for high impact initiatives that we could roll out on a quick timeline so we could start moving the needle as soon as possible. For the website redesign, we focused on highlighting our top academic programs, also highlighting our transfer degrees as well. We also built out a capability to report on academic interest. It is something that we haven't traditionally collected but we have now started to collect academic interest that goes outside of just transfer degrees. So yes, you're coming to WNC for a transfer degree, but what do you want to do with that transfer degree? We're also working on an enhanced admissions application through OnBase, as well as developing avenues to request information. This helps with lead generation and starts that dialogue with the students immediately. Next slide, please. So as we redeveloped our website and built out these other on-base initiatives, we had to focus on our decision-making process, going with a data-driven decision-making and using the committee structure to ensure that we're prioritizing the initiatives that we pursue. We want to focus on those high-impact, quick turnaround initiatives. So we had our Enrollment and Retention Committee had a web enrollment subcommittee that worked very, very closely with Kayla and Troy to make sure that what we were focusing on with this new website redesign has the best impact on students to move the needle as much as we could. Along with that, we also have an accessibility committee. We want to be sure that we're maintaining our commitment to accessibility. As we develop these new programs, these new websites, we want to make sure that everyone has the opportunity to engage with the content. And with that, next slide, please, and I will turn it over to Kayla to talk you through the website redesign. Thank you.
Hi. As Ryan said, I'm Kayla Sinkern. I'm the webmaster for Western. My first task as a new employee there was to redesign the website. And not knowing anything about higher education, I focused on students. I was a student not too long ago, so it didn't seem too far-fetched. You can see on the, I guess my left-hand side is the old website, and it was a lot of content. It was a lot of stuff a lot of words that students really probably didn't want to read. So we took that same concept and turned it into more user-friendly, image-centric, icon-centric, less words, just kind of, hey, this is what we've got going on, as well as we created a top news slider for anything upcoming, anything that we want to promote, and have it quickly accessible by students. Next slide, please. So we had 4 goals in creating the redesign, and the first one was a call to action and bringing everything that a student would want to know about each department up front and center to where they can find it easily. I had noticed that on the previous website, not all departments created contacts, which to me seemed weird considering most students want to be able to contact a department right there on their page. So my first call to action was to provide a single place where all the contact information on every department page was easily seen, as well as creating a heavily navigated top 6 Google Analytic driven top navigation for each department. So for instance, with the admissions and records page, there I had looked at the previous Google Analytics and said that most people were looking for transfers, their transcripts, their registration, what their fees are going to be, and put it all up top. And then confirmed that with the director of admissions. And so we moved forward with that for each department. The second goal was to really utilize Google Analytics and Google Tag Manager to drive quick navigation for all the students to be able to find things easily. With the main navigation that's not really pictured, that's at the top of that first image, everything there is tracked so that we know more accurately where students are going, how they're getting to each page, and where they're coming from, which also allows us to be able to rearrange things or market different programs via the ad slider pretty easily. Next slide, please. which then turned into a streamlined process of, instead of really long scrollable pages, taking those analytics and having all the departments look at their pages, reorganize, restructure, and figure out what can be condensed. And we came up with this tab structure to eliminate the scrolling, but also to provide a more header-like way of finding things. And we streamlined that content for desktop and mobile. If you go to the next slide, please. This is what it turned out to be like on mobile. So we've found a way to streamline the content while still having the same structure as the pages. What's not pictured is the contact information down at the bottom of the page, because we're hoping that on mobile, which we believe 90% of our students are getting to our website from, we want them to find the information before they decide to contact us, and which made it easier for the departments to not have to field so many phone calls, or so I've heard. Next slide. And then our last goal was accessibility and being ADA compliant. So we used contrasting elements. We utilized a lot of images. We made sure that PDFs were accessible, and we utilized our gold as more decorative items rather than text or background colors, so that it was easier to be seen on a screen reader. And I had a lot of meetings with our disability support services department, and they utilized their screen reader. They utilized everything available to them to make sure that it was accessible for all of their devices. And then specifically for the website, I utilized Google Analytics and Site Improve to make sure that there's no broken links, there's nothing that's super far out of the accessibility range of WCAG 2.0, and really just tried to make it as accessible and streamlined as possible. So that's the website. I'll go to Troy on this.
Add that in coming meetings of the full board and of this committee, we will be discussing accessibility policies for the system-wide agenda. So that is appropriate and relevant, and I thank you.
Good morning, Regents. For the record, Troy Wadsworth, System Administrator, Western Nevada College. If we could go ahead and let's do the next slide. So I'm here to basically present to you an on-base overview. So currently, right now, within the Nevada system of higher education, almost all the institutions use on-base. On-base is an enterprise content management system that at least 4 of the colleges in the state have been using for the last, since 2011. So in 2011, WNC, TMCC, NSHE, and CSN and GBC moved to the on-base platform. And the reason why we went to on-base is we wanted to be able to capture documents and then store that data via the cloud. Also, we wanted all our information to be just managed in one system. We wanted the content or whatever was loaded into on-base be accessed anywhere via your phone or via laptop or tablet. Also, on-base integrates very well with other applications, for example, PeopleSoft, Workday. And then what it does is that we measure the profits and the process and the system performance. And we have found out that it has streamlined a lot of our business practices that we've had here within, especially Western Nevada College. It also stores, it protects, and in our content that we put into OnBase and into the cloud, our information that is stored within OnBase is actually stored at 9 database facilities around the world. So a Prime example, in 2012, we had Hurricane Sandy hit our Virginia data center. We didn't know there was, we were still pulling data because they had switched the data over to Japan. So we were pulling the data out of Japan with our forms. Next slide. So in 2012, we were tasked by then Chet Burton to kind of formulate an ROI that we did for Western Nevada College. And basically what this is basically what time is saved by using OnBase. And how we did this, and we did this for each department, but for example, for our academic counseling service, when they were meeting with students, they would literally have to get up out of their desk and walk over to our admissions and records and pull a transcript out of a big filing cabinet and then walk back to meet with a student. Well, OnBase revolutionized that because we scanned all the documents in, and they were able to pull the documents right up on their computer. So what we did is we, based on time savings and then the number of employees, and then with the help of our CFO at that time, formulated numbers that we saw that we projected and we saved. Now, that was back in 2012. And since then, Western Nevada College has grown tremendously in that area. Next slide, please. So, for example, in our data cost, Vice Chancellor Nate McKenna came to us and says, hey, we want to somehow do the Nevada Promise Scholarship, but we want to make it as an e-form within OnBase. So myself and another system administrator, Peter Miller at Truckee Meadows Community College, we developed this form and workflow. Now, it's an NSHE-wide application. All our students have access to it. It uses a very complex workflow. We usually average about 15,000 applications a year. And we also not only use that, but we also use other forms like a mentor tracking form, a mentor response form, that gets tied into the Nevada Promise Scholarship. So we figured our total annual cost, we had around 20,000 or 25,000 applications, and we looked at our annual cost of saving that within the cloud, and it came to about $9.35. So it was $2.34 per institution. So it was a great savings. It was something that that we had on base, that we utilized, a system that we already had, and then we showed the cost savings for the institutions by going with an on-base form. Next slide, please. So at Western Nevada College, what pushes us is our e-forms. Western Nevada College, we have probably around 100 e-forms that the college uses, all the way from the library to facilities to our budget office to our student services. We use the OnBase e-forms, which is easy to create and easy to get up for the students. Now, this is our financial aid verification form. This is one of our biggest forms that we send out to our students. And it's a form that we maintain. We've had the form actually audited by Grant Thornton, and they actually like it because it's easy to access, and especially our students like it. And as you know, our new generation, they want everything done on their mobile device. And these forms that we've created for our students, and there's many, many, many that we've created within our student services, they prefer their applications to be done on their phone. They don't like paper. You know, we've talked to many of our students, you know, and usually the paper gets put in their backpack and it comes back, it's all crumply. The new generation, they just don't like it. They prefer it all on e-forms. So this was one of 100 forms that we've done. And then if you see on the right side is actually the workflow. That's actually the engine behind the form. And a lot of it is actually done automatically. It sends out emails automatically to the student. It sends out text messages to students out, hey, we need this, and OnBase is doing all of it. So it's taken a lot of pressure off our staff to rely on OnBase to do a lot of the automation that it does. And it's great because our students, see where their format is at in the process. Because they'll get an email or a text message saying, oh, by the way, it's in the verification 1 queue, it's being reviewed by the committee. And then it will move into the processing. Oh, by the way, it's in the processing. So every little step, the students get notified on where their application is in the process. It has cut tremendously in our phone calls to student services. Back in the day, in the late 2000s and early 2010s, we used to have a line out the door, or they would come in with admissions and records and financial aid, and they would have a ton of messages on their phone. Now today, very rarely. We don't have a line out of financial aid. Everything is being automated via OnBase through these forms and workflows. Next slide, please. So I also had the opportunity or work part-time for Truckee Meadows Community College. And we revolutionized a grade change form for the staff there. And so this is another great thing that the staff actually fills this out for a grade change, and then it goes to the instructor for approval via an email. They open up a link, it opens up the form, they approve it, they submit it, and then it moves into admissions and records and staff. And you can see this is a fairly new form. It was done last summer, and they've already done 1,077. But again, it's all being routed through the staff, the chairs and the deans for approval, and all they have to do is when that email comes to the chair or approval, it says, hey, so-and-so needs a grade change, do you approve this? They approve it, it moves to the next workflow, and then it goes through. So it saves tons of man hours and stuff like that by automating a lot of the system. Next slide, please. So our about last fall, President Solis came to us, and he says, we got to do something with our admissions application. I have the old Commodore 64, that's where I learned program, but our enrollment application was clunky, it didn't work very well, it was not mobile friendly, it was definitely not accessible. And President Solis says, you know, we need to re-overhaul this. We need and challenge us to come up with a better product. And just to give you an example, our old admissions application, it would take quite a while for our students to fill it out. And it was an old PeopleSoft mod. GBC uses the same mod, and it just has always been clunky. So what we did is we decided to build out an OnBase form for an admissions application. Next slide, please. So this is this is what it looked like as a mobile. So it always cut the application in half. It drove students nuts. Drove staff nuts. You would have to open up the phone, and so we wanted to make something again mobile friendly. Let's go to the next slide. So here's what our new application looks like. This is another OnBase form that we have built out. And again, it's more streamlined, meets our colors for the school. And it's mobile friendly. So let's go to the next slide. And so that's what it looks like on a mobile phone. So it makes it a lot more mobile friendly. Our students want that. And I've always remembered the advice from President Solis. He says, if a student's coming up to our school and they can't fill out our application, man, WGU and the other schools are looking good because they're mobile friendly. And so that was our main focus, is to make this mobile friendly, and then of course make it accessible to people that need accessibility. Let's go next slide. So we also created with another OnBase form is a request for information. This actually relies on our website. It actually is on our website. And so students, when they hit request for info, it opens up an OnBase form. And from that part on, it goes into the data, into NSHE query, and our people are able to contact initial contacts, which is great. This was something that came out of the Noah Lovitz survey last summer. It works fantastic. Those numbers are up probably about 600 or 700. We did this last summer. But this is another, but we're capturing that data. That's the big thing, especially, and OnBase does a fantastic job of that. Next slide. So currently, what we're also developing right now is, again, using the technology that we have, the product that we have, but we're actually developing a CRM within OnBase. OnBase can do a lot. Our school can't afford a lot of the CRMs that are currently out there. So we're currently working on that to integrate our application, our request for info, to create a enhanced CRM. Next slide. And that concludes our presentation today. So if there are any questions for our team, we'd be happy to take them.
Thank you very much for a very comprehensive report from your entire team. This is outstanding examples of how we can move these programs forward at WNC and hopefully system-wide. Chair DiCarlo, do you have anything that you want to add, or do you have any questions before we open it to the full board?
No, I appreciate hearing the report, and it's all about technology and meeting the needs of our students.
Thank you. Regents on the committee. Vice Chairman, Regent McAdoo.
Thank you. I just have one comment, and that would be, I think it was nicely done, nice presentation, great work. But to Kayla, I want to say, I think you know more about higher ed than you gave yourself credit for, because we are all about students. They are one of our focuses as well. So thank you for your good work.
Vice Chancellor McKinnon.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chairman. Just a couple comments for the committee on this. I think, first of all, the work on the website itself at WNC and our other institutions have also continued to undergo continuous website redevelopment, and TMCC did that as well recently. And, I think that is one of our biggest challenges from the technology front, is having people with Kayla's skill sets, even at small institutions like WNC, and trying to leverage the resources we have across the system and work collaboratively. I'll point you back to the decision guide for the MGM program that we had done at the last meeting that came from someone with really great web development skills, and that leveraging those across our system is sometimes a challenge for us, especially with those careers being in such high demand. Secondly, on the OnBase piece and what Troy just went through, I've talked about OnBase previously to this committee. For those of you who may remember back in 2017, if you were on this committee, from the respective Nevada Promise program and how it was our savior in a lot of ways. And you can see the total cost was $9 additional for that entire system to be the backbone for the Nevada Promise applications and all of the processes in place. And without that, I don't know how we would have pulled it off in the way we did with such little time when we got this thing stood up in the first place, and Peter and Troy were instrumental in that. I am so excited to see us leveraging this tool or any tool for further development. And you heard at the end there, Troy showed the slide on the CRM, or the Customer Relationship Management System. There are off-the-shelf products that do that. A very popular one based out of San Francisco is Salesforce. And Salesforce is a great product. It is also a very expensive product. Another one is Radius that a couple of our colleges use. Again, a great product, very expensive. And so what I love about what's happening at WNC and in conversations with GBC is, knowing that there's fiscal limitations and being able to really try and do less with more and utilize the tools and the expertise we already have to make this work. CRM systems are very powerful in that when you engage with any company or organization, and then they have a process that they've pushed you through, that's all needs enterprise systems behind the scenes to make it work. And so to see WNC recognizing that, putting this together, and you see all of those on the left was the form, and that's what the student sees, and on the right is all of the workflow behind it. And someone has to program that, someone has to develop it and make it happen, and really excited to see how we're leveraging this tool to our maximum potential across our colleges. And I just think this is another great example of shared services for our institutions, and I hope we could get to continue doing more of this.
Thank you very much. We'll move on to item, Regent Perkins.
Thank you, Vice Chair. I was wondering, does this make it a lot easier to track students, like for reports, like their graduation rates? Does this feed into all of those reports that we need to generate at the end of the year?
I'll give Nate McKinnon, for the record, I'll give a response and then ask Troy to either verify or tell me I'm way off base. And that is that not necessarily, because this is really about front-end integration. This is from a business perspective, this is customer acquisition. This is how you, from someone landing on your website and saying, I might be interested, to getting them all the way to enrolled and in a class sitting there. And once they enroll, then they become a student. And the nice thing about this is because it integrates with PeopleSoft, as do other CRMs, the information, so that if Nate McKinnon applies and gets put through all of the processes, my information is then transferred over to PeopleSoft, and that's where we track graduation rates that we manage at our single instance for community colleges of the student information system. Troy, did I explain that in a somewhat accurate manner?
Again, Troy Wadsworth for the record. You hit it right on the head, Nate. We use also a graduation application that is an on-base form, and the cool thing about this is, again, that does track our graduation of people that potentially applied, for graduation, but, they didn't follow through. But the cool thing, again, is they put in the application, and then the application makes a call out to to PeopleSoft to see if they've paid the graduation fee, because we have a graduation fee, and it checks like every 3 or 4 days. And if that's not met, then it's sending, again, emails out to the students, letting them know, they haven't paid their grad fee and stuff like that. But again, it's doing everything, all the work on the background, stuff like that. But that's one of the greatest tools for OnBase is we're tracking student data within PeopleSoft, but we're also tracking it in OnBase.
Thank you all for a very productive discussion. We'll move into item number 6, TMCC soccer program. Before Dr. Ruff makes her presentation, I'll invite Vice Chancellor McKinnon and President Helgerson to offer opening remarks.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Nate McKinnon for the record. As you know, the board in December 2018 finalized the TMCC soccer program with the acceptance of the team and the program into the conference, which is a board action that's required. There's been a lot of action underway since then. We've been very excited. The team is playing, and the field is beautiful. If you haven't been up there, I highly recommend. I know a number of you were at the opening, the ribbon cutting for it. And so with that, I'd like to turn it over to President Hilgerson to tee up this presentation for the committee.
Well, good morning, everyone. It is my great pleasure today to introduce to you Dr. Tina Ruff, who is the first TMCC Director of Athletics, Health, and Wellness at TMCC. She has done an amazing job. It's been a really, I'd say it was a heavy lift. And Tina and her Vice President, Estela Gutierrez, have such a nice, collaborative, detailed style that we are off to a rockin' start. Tina Ruff was previously at the University of Nevada in athletics from 2002 to 2018. She held various roles there, from softball assistant coach to associate AD. She oversaw their sports of softball, women's swim and dive, women's track and field, men's and women's tennis teams. She is a former Division I softball student athlete at Arizona State University, and she is a native Nevadan. So now I'll turn it over to Dr. Tina Ruff.
Good morning, Dr. Tina Ruff for the record. Thanks for allowing me the opportunity to report on TMCC Athletics and its new soccer program or programs. I especially want to thank President Hilgerson and the TMCC staff and students for the opportunity to lead TMCC Athletics. It has been a fun and a great experience launching the athletics program at Truckee Meadows Community College. since I was hired this time last year. Lastly, I want to thank Dexter Irvin, my friend and colleague, and the CSN athletic staff for being great colleagues and mentors to me and our TMCC team. They've been incredible in guiding us and helping us within the state of Nevada to launch our program. So thank you very much. So that, and with that, I'll get started. When I was hired last year, there was a lot of items to get going to be able to implement a vibrant and successful athletics program. And first part with that was, and I'll go next slide to the vision and our core values, was to work with a local company and former athletics director to implement a strategic plan and really to attract student athletes who want to buy into what we stand for and to have our institution to really buy into athletics, the athletics program here. So with our vision statement, we created Truckee Meadows Community College TMCC Athletics will be the pride of TMCC in Northern Nevada communities. And then we also launched into what is our core values, and you can see that it's kind of on the back of a lizard, and it incorporates our lizard mascot, or what we are, the lizards. So we have inclusion, integrity, zest, leadership, transparency, dependability, and success. Next slide. We developed our mission and purpose statement, what we stand for. TMCC Athletics fosters a culture of excellence that provides opportunities for students to develop personal character and leadership skills. We build champions in the classroom, in competition, and in life, while serving as an integral part of the community college experience. TMCC Athletics seeks to heighten the visibility of the college and the engagement of the community, and I hope that we've done that this past year. Next slide. One of my favorite slides. This really gets down to students and what we're about and the opportunities we're providing to our student athletes. We have 58 current student athletes. And you can see how it falls out into the different ethnicities. You can see that we are a Hispanic serving institution. We are 66% there. And then you can also see where we line up with the TMCC percentages as well. And then also I like to talk about the degrees, all the degrees that our student athletes are enrolled in. You can see the different numbers and how those flesh out. If you want more detail, I have it down to what gender, how many gender, like women and men, are in those degree programs. Another detail I'd like to report that's not on this slide is of our 58 student athletes, 55 are from the state of Nevada, 44 from Northern Nevada, 11 from Southern Nevada. We have 1 male from Idaho, we have 1 female from California, and we have 1 female from Hawaii. So we are very representative of the state of Nevada. I'm very proud of that. Next slide. Academics is paramount for us here at Truckee Meadows Community College in athletics. I preach this daily to our staff, our compliance eligibility team, and they're right there with me with our academic success team. We preach it. So student athletes, we have students in all caps for a reason. Any prospective student athlete who wants to come and play for the Lizards must have a 2.0 GPA out of high school. We do weekly mandatory study hall. I can attest to that. I'm actually the proctor of that. And that is on Monday and Tuesday nights in the library for an hour and a half. You have to be able to have a 3.0 college work GPA to be able to get out of study hall. So we have, as you can imagine, the majority of our student athletes right now are in mandatory study hall. At the end of the fall, we'll hopefully knock that number down to a small number for the spring, and hopefully many of them will be out. Our student athletes are also enrolled in 15 credit hours per semester, along with their PEX soccer class. That is to ensure that they remain in full-time and that we're setting them up for success to be able to meet their eligibility standards per the NJCA rules, but also too, we are then moving them on to making sure that they are on track to get their degree in 2 years, in 4 semesters. We have random class checks. I can attest to that too. I have been outside classes, making sure our students are in class. Our team currently is on the road at Salt Lake Community College, and I'm pretty sure our academic advisor is out around the hallways, making sure that the student athletes that didn't travel are in class as well. We implemented per the Regent Code, the Board Regent Code, a missed class policy, and we have instituted a professor letter. And the professor letter is in the first week of classes in August, our student athletes are mandated to take a letter to each one of their professors, meet with the professor, and the professor has to, or our instructor has to sign off on that letter to ensure that the athlete can indeed be in that class. We have a code of excellence, which is our student athlete handbook, which is the rules to live by and what it means to be an athlete. It's a privilege, not a right. And we go through that in a 2-day orientation in the very beginning before they report. We have an academic success team, which is financial aid. We have a person from financial aid, an individual from DRC, an individual, we have our academic compliance and registrar, and we have an individual from counseling on that team. And then right down to my closed team is compliance and eligibility team, and that's the registrar, the compliance officer, and then the academic advisor, and we meet weekly. I'm happy to report also we are using Starfish Early Alert System. Our faculty and staff are really great at using that system to assist us and our academic advisor on our early alerts of our student athletes. We have kept student athletes off the road and have not allowed them to travel if they do have alerts. We are making sure that they're staying in classes and that they are doing what they need to do in the classroom. And if taking away soccer is something we have to do, we will do that, and we have done that. Next slide. When I won the job back in September, I was adamant about adding a model of having faculty mentors. And we have 5 faculty mentor members, and it's Dr. Melissa Dedman, Rick Bullis, Josh Shin, Dr. Hugh Doe, and then Dr. Jonathan Lamb. And they're all from various different disciplines. And what they have done is they've come out to practice. They met with our student athletes at orientation. And what they've done is they've been the eyes and ears for me, and they've really helped us be a buffer between other faculty members who may have an issue with our student athletes. And they've really helped bridge the gap of communication and really help us with heading off some issues that we would have had at the end of the semester. I've already hit them off in week 4 and 5. So this is a great, this has been working great. There's always some tweaks that we can make, but these individuals have been great team players with us implementing athletics. Next slide. This is the athletics budget. So another item that was top of list, number 1 probably when I took the position, was to put together what it was going to cost. I would work closely with Dexter Urban at CSN and other institutions in our conference to really drill down to what it's going to cost to have 2 soccer programs at Truckee Meadows. And so you can see how that breaks out. We've implemented our head coach salary, which we will be doing, and which we have open right now for national search. And that will be the salary range. That individual will oversee both men's and women's soccer programs, and also have a coordinator position for the other half of their duties in the college. Women's soccer total and men's soccer total is right there. That includes a $50,000 travel included in that number. And then, as you're all aware, that the 50 cents, the $5 per credit hour, their students are paying, 50 cents of that goes and supports athletics. And then Jim New and I went to Student Government Association last fall and got approval for their dollar activity fee to also then support athletics. So that's the budget. Next slide. This is a representation of the 58 student athletes that we have, the men's team and the women's team, and the number of credit hours that are that they bring and what they're paying for, and then the 3 out-of-state students. So we have 50 state students to approximately 105,000, and then we have a total tuition of about 121. So annually, our student athletes are bringing, just through tuition fees to the institution for fall and spring, 242,000 annually. That doesn't include all the mandatory fees that they also pay. So we just wanted to portray and kind of indicate the impact that our student athletes are now bringing to TMCC monetarily. Next slide. So another task that I tasked myself with, and also Dr. Hilgerson and I had many discussions about, is fundraising and bringing revenue in to really help support the athletics program. And I'm proud to say that we have, you can see the donations that we brought in. I started a Mighty Lizard Booster Club, fun with that. I've been having a lot of fun with that. Just general support and sponsorships. Was able to secure gift in kind dollars from 3 really large sponsors, so to 65,000, and then employee donations. So we're up to about 115,000, about $116,000. So I'm proud of that. And then the next slide is just a compliance rule. Just we're very, very mindful of the NJCA rules. With my past experience at the NCAA level and being a compliance officer there, and then just always having that lens, we are always mindful of the rules. And so what we do here is we have rules that we give to our coaches in our weekly meetings. We also do it, and we also put an NJCA rule pop quiz in the Monday Minute in student services. And this is just keeping people abreast of the rules that we need to live by. Our compliance team is Andy Hughes, our registrar archives is, who works for Andy and then myself. Next slide. So also the other part of my position is I oversee the fitness center. And as you all know, we broke ground November 27th of last year on our soccer field, but also tied to that is our fitness center. And our fitness center our current fitness center is vibrant and great. And we've managed to really grow our membership there and really improve our equipment in that area. And we've increased our hours, improved our hours for our staff and students. And then now we also are building a brand new fitness center, and it's a 20,000 square foot building. It's online to be open be finished January 7th. So we're super excited about that. And so that's that. And then the next slide. And this is my other AD duties fitness center. And then I'm also a coordinator of PEX unit. I'm also happy to report, I know I gave a lot of academic information. Our teams are on the road right now at Salt Lake Community College. Our men's soccer program has 9 wins, 4 losses, and 3 ties for their first year program. And our women soccer program is 6 and 8. So that will conclude my report. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Chair DiCarlo, do you have any comments or questions?
Yes, I do. Thank you, Vice Chair Lieberman, and thank you, Tina, for such a thorough update. I wanted to know how many students actually travel for the away games, because you said there's some that are left behind.
Yes, that will vary just based on it's based on the personnel that we have. So like right now we have 18. I believe we have 18 men on the road and 19 women on the road. It just depends on their academics. So we've taken 22 and 22. That's 22 and 22 is really good because that gives you 11 on the field and 11 on the bench. You don't want to go anywhere. You don't want to go any lower than 16, 15. Then you really have low personnel. But we 18 and 19 is comfortable. And when you're on one motor coach, it's tight. So.
So you're going by bus everywhere? Is that correct?
Yes, correct. We never fly. It's a bus league. Ask Dexter. CSN, we have to bus everywhere. It's just not physically responsible to fly.
Well, it's prohibitively expensive. I didn't have any idea you had a Lizard Booster Club. I've been a booster member at UNR for 30 plus years, and I would love for you to market that, and I will be happy to join, and I'm sure other regents would be happy to join. And I'd also say go after your alumni if you have a database of alumni, because that's usually who supports booster clubs.
Will do. Thank you.
Okay. And I just wondered, I know when we as regents were determining whether to go forward with this, we asked if the field was going to be used for other civic groups, practice fields, etc. And if it is that free, or are we gonna charge for revenue or whatever?
Yeah. So this year we've been really very mindful.
Did we lose?
Oh, just lost.
We're having technical difficulties.
Carol, we can still hear you.
Okay.
And we can still see.
Yeah,
we can still see Joyce as well, but we lost Reno.
Okay. We can hear you again, because Tina's last thing was we loot. Did we? I forget. Yeah.
I can.
We need to take a recess.
We can hear you though.
Let's take a 5-minute recess while we resolve this issue.
Yes.
Thank you.
Great. Let's see. We're going to leave this plugged in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think what she was about to say is that the grass needs to mature for a year.
Okay. Well, yeah. Yeah.
Carol, you might want to mute your phone during the recess.
Oh.
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
We'll resume the meeting. Are there any more questions on the TMCC soccer program from members of the board, of the committee?
I have one.
Seeing none, we'll move on.
Quick question. have a quick question.
Vice Chancellor McKinnon.
Sorry, thank you, Mr. Vice Chairman. I just have a quick question for Tina on the fitness center aspect, which was, you said in here 200 new memberships, and I'm just wondering what type of constituencies that represents. I don't know, are they there? We can't see or hear them. Still waiting.
Can they address this during public comment?
Okay. Oh, we hear something. Okay. We see you, Tina.
Okay. Do you want me to finish answering the question?
Yeah,
About
we
the rental of the fee?
The membership question, we didn't hear any answer. So did you hear that, my question, or no? Oh, okay.
Did not hear it.
My question was, Nate McKinnon for the record. My question was just, the slide on the fitness center says that you have 200 new memberships, and I'm just wondering what types of constituencies that represents.
So what we've done also, we have a lot of students, but also faculty, like faculty coming back in with the new equipment that we have. We've extended our hours. We're not opening at 11 because of PX. We're opening at 7 a.m. in the morning. We're open till 7 p.m. at night. We're open longer on Fridays and still on Saturdays. And so we've had more people wanting to come join the gym, get healthier, see what we're doing. And so, yeah, but it's also an inclusive of students as well. You know, we started charging the $5 per credit hour, and we were charging memberships last spring. Well, then now we've moved into this fall, no longer charging memberships to students. So our memberships are also going up too, because they're realizing they're actually paying it part of their credit hours. So that's part of that too.
So if I could ask a follow-up question, Nate McKinnon for the record. So a student doesn't need a membership. They just need to be a student now at TMCC?
Correct, because yes, they have to prove that they're enrolled and they're paying per credit hour fees, and then they'll be able to be a member. Thanks for that question.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions before we move on?
Yeah, Carol, another question.
Chair DiCarlo.
No, mine were answered. Thank you. But that was a good question you asked, Vice Chair McKinnon.
Thank you very much. We'll move on and play basketball with CSN. If Vice Chair McKinnon could introduce the topic.
Thank you, Vice Chancellor McKinnon, Nate McKinnon for the record. Happy to bring to you today a presentation from CSN. As you know, CSN has had a long, terrific record with athletics for community colleges, both within our state and nationally. And today, we're going to learn more about the possibility of adding a new sport at the college, or at least new now, which is that of basketball. And so for that, in President Zaragoza's stead, I'll turn it over to Vice President Margot Martin from CSN.
Thank you so much. Margot Martin, CSN Vice President for Academic Affairs. So Vice Chairman, Vice Chancellor McKinnon, Regents, committee members, colleagues, and guests. We really want to appreciate you for providing us an opportunity to present our plan to increase our current athletic portfolio at CSN by adding basketball, men's and women's basketball. Sports at CSN are a sustainable and important dimension of our student life and our community connection. And while we're proud of our highly competitive teams, our student athletes are among our most successful student cohorts at CSN in terms of student success. So here to present our report on basketball is CSN Athletic Director Dexter Urban.
Chair, thank you. Dexter Irvin, or Dr. Martin, thank you. Regents, Dexter Irvin for the record, Athletic Director at CSN. We currently have 5 sports at CSN. We're excited to present the basketball option for us. And we can go through our slides and kind of give you the history and look very quickly at where we've been and where we want to be. If we could go to, is this the next slide, or is that what this is?
The green button, yes.
Green button. Go. There we go. As you can see, the Board of Regents approved athletics at CSN in 1999 and 2000. we began play with baseball and women's soccer. In 2003, we dropped women's soccer and added softball. At that time, our conference did not have a women's soccer league, so it was very difficult to get games. We had softball, so we switched to softball. I was at a different institution at that time within the conference, and that's kind of how I know that. Men's and women's basketball was added in 2004 and dropped in 2005. There's a lot of reasons for that, but my opinion is mostly because our infrastructure wasn't in place. We did not have a sound infrastructure to be able to support the additional sports at CSN at that time. Again, looking from the outside in, at being at another institution, it was pretty evident that that's kind of what had happened. I was hired in January of 2014 with the concept to increase our athletic footprint. We added women's volleyball in 2015, men's and women's soccer in 2016. We added cheer and dance this year. We currently have 15, I believe, or 16 students involved in our cheer program. They did a wonderful job at our soccer game yesterday, have the school song thoroughly memorized, and are doing a wonderful job. So currently we have women's volleyball, men's soccer, and soccer, baseball, and cheer, and softball, and cheer and dance. We have really two models. So our baseball and softball program are modeled with full-time coaches and scholarships. And our women's volleyball, our men's and women's soccer programs, and our basketball programs will be a different model, or are a different model, with part-time coaches or what we call stipend coaches, and non-scholarship or low scholarship. The proposed sports obviously are men's and women's basketball, to currently to hire coaches this year, to begin scheduling, to begin recruiting, and then begin play in the fall of 2020. Our current model of athletic success is demonstrated, and I want to really, just to kind of regress just a minute, say congratulations to Tina and her folks at Truckee Meadows. They've done a wonderful job. They really worked hard to try and do it right, and I appreciate the emphasis and the continuation that we've all tried to place on academic success for our community college athletes. So they've done a wonderful job up there, and congratulations to the Lizard. And we don't have a cup yet, but we might have to develop one, Tina, for our little competitive nature here with soccer. Anyway, you can see the grade point averages in 2018 of our student athletes in the range there. We had 27 NJCAA All-Americans and a persistence rate of 84%. We're very proud of how our students do academically, and you can see that they're excelling in the classroom as well as excelling in the different sports that they play. Why basketball and why now? Well, responding to our community and community interests, as you may or may not know, according to the National Federation of High Schools, basketball is the most popular sport in the state. It's played by more students and it's more institutions than any other sport. It's a sport that obviously has a lot of draw with the Running Rebels down to our high school and little leagues within the state. So we believe that missing gap, that missing link, so to speak, is at the community college level. We have a large number of students that leave the state every year because they don't have a place to go and play at this level. Promotes our college culture. We foster our students' first mission and advance our equity model. And then responding to our NSHE goals of access for student success and closing achievement gaps. Our athletic programs provide success in all of those areas. We expect basketball to be the same, not be any different. We've shown that success with our models in volleyball, in men's and women's soccer, as well as our other full-time programs, and there's no reason to expect basketball would be any different. In fact, the expectation is it will be that way or exceeded. Our current athletic expenditures and revenues, you can see on the left our annual expenditures for operations, our salaries and benefits, excuse me, our annual revenues, our ticket sales, our tournament fundraisers, our booster club. We would love to have all of you in our booster club, and if you're lizards and not coyotes, we're going to have to fight or something. We'll send a lizard. We'll send a coyote after you. The lizard won't be a problem. A coyote could be a problem. Donations, our athletic fee that was approved 2 years ago that generates $2 a credit hour per student. And then we've done a good job of managing our budget, we believe, and we currently have around $300,000 in reserve. That's what we've been able to do for athletics. Our basketball expenses per team, this year's startup costs, you can see what those are going to be as we hire coaches, again, on a part-time model. I hate that word part-time because there's nothing part-time about coaching. It's a stipend model, what we're going to spend on recruiting, and somebody looks at that and they go, how can you only spend $1,000 recruiting? Well, because again, this is a community college. We recruit local students. 80% of our current athletes are from Nevada or greater. Our men's and women's soccer team, it's closer to 90, 95%. And so this is going to be a program where will we have some kids from out of state? I'm sure that we will. But they're going to be held to that 80% model because, again, this is for our student athletes, our local kids. And by the way, our recruiting budget for our other sports is the same. It's very close to that, if not a little less than that, because, again, they drive from high school to high school. Our high school coaches have been in every high school in this valley, and they're our best recruiters, quite frankly. Supplies and equipment, we'll order uniforms, we'll order basketballs and the other things that we need this year. Our travel and operations would be to go to conference meetings and get that all set up. And our administrative costs are going to be based upon increasing our website presence. We live feed all of our games, doing all the technical things that are necessary to put all that together and make sure that everything's put together. We're going to have some additional part-time help in sports information. And we're going to have to take our 3/4 trainer to a full-time trainer to make sure that we have our athletic training coverages done and those costs that are associated with that. So our total startup cost this year is around $40,000. Our ongoing budget for each sport will be $150,000. You can see there that the coaches are going to make a lot of money. They're going to be able to live and pay their family mortgage for about a month maybe, but anyway, they all go into this, know what they're going into, and they're excited about the opportunities that are there. Our assistant coaches, they can have 1 or 5, I don't care, they can have 50 if they can figure out how to pay them out of that $5,000. Again, recruiting will be the same, our supplies and equipment, there'll be some ongoing costs there. And our travel and operations, basketball, junior college is allowed 30 games per year. Fortunately, we like to have, and people like to come to Las Vegas, so we host tournaments here, we'll host events, but we have to, our officiating costs are we spend $100,000 a year on officials at junior college. So it's not cheap. It's a basketball official right now in our conference is making about $250 a game. So in one game, it's a $750 nut for us to pay for each of those games. So those costs are associated with that. And then the other things that we need to put our basketball program together on the administrative side. We're going to be playing at our North Las Vegas campus. Now, I don't know if you've been to our North Las Vegas gym or not. If you come, you got to get there early because there's not a lot of places to sit. It's a great little venue. It's a wonderful area to be in. We're excited about playing on that campus. We play volleyball there right now, but there's not a lot of seating, and we'll deal with that as things come along. Excuse me, but it's a great little venue. We've done a nice job with our sponsors. The school colors are in there. The only thing we have to do is fix our backboards because they're illegal because they're outdated right now. They're too wide, so we got to get new backboards. But other than that, there's a lot of wonderful things that are going on there. It's a vibrant campus with the student union building there. It's right, adjacent almost to that facility. So we're excited about being able to play on that campus and hopefully outgrow it and then see what comes after that. We also are looking at possibly playing at some different venues around town when we have tournaments in town to be able to bring in both recruiters and provide opportunities for our other students. We want people to see us play. So we may play at a high school up in the Northwest or somewhere in Henderson or somewhere else so that people in the Valley can come and see these young students participate in the sport they love. Again, the benefits provide local athletes an opportunity for full-time enrollment. All of our student athletes earn 15 to 17 hours. They don't graduate in 2 years if they don't. They're going to prosper after they get out of school, but they gotta be able to get into those classes. If you're below 12, you don't get to play, obviously, but 12 doesn't get you graduating in 2 years. We're in 15, 17 hours. We're going to continue on our goal to retain and succeed with these students. We're going to increase our diversity and our gender equity within our program. And hopefully, as we really work hard at increasing our community spirit and our engagement. Our student athletes are out in the community. They're doing service projects. They're involved. They put in a ridiculous number of hours into community service. Our women's softball team, I think, has the Community Service Award the last couple of years. And it's over 3,000 hours that they're putting in, combined hours, into our community just as we do what we do. So we're very excited about this, and we think that, again, it's not about playing basketball, Regents. It's about providing an educational opportunity for young people that play basketball, and that's what we do here. Any questions that I can answer for you?
Regent McAdoo.
All right, I have a couple.
Sure.
And my daughter just had a shirt made for me that says basketball is my favorite season.
All right.
So what can I say? So the first question may I ask two questions back to
Yes.
back? Okay. Where you referred to the local model.
Yes, ma'am.
And that would be 80% of your athletes.
Correct.
So by local, do you mean local Southern Nevada, local from the whole state of Nevada?
We start in Southern Nevada and work out. So
Okay.
as long as they're from the state, then we count that as being
As part of that
as part of
80%.
that. But yes, ma'am. But most of them are, quite frankly, are from Southern Nevada. But we count
I
the
would
state.
expect
Yes,
so.
ma'am. Yes.
Yeah, thank you. And then my next question really was about the officials, because you said the budget for officials is $100,000. That's for
Correct.
all your
All of our
sports,
sports.
correct?
Yes.
So when I figured the 30 games at $250 a game, that's about $7,500. Does that come out of the administrative budget?
It does come out of
Okay.
the administrative budget. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Appreciate that.
And it varies from sport to sport. Each sport gets a different amount of money. Basketball makes so much. Baseball makes so
Right.
much. Most games that we have way too many officials. But I can't change that.
Oh.
They won't let me. We don't need 3 basketball officials, but I lost that war about 10 years ago. So we have to have 3. So
Even on the high school level, they have
yes,
3.
ma'am.
so-
It's way too many, but that's another story.
Right, okay.
Regent Perkins.
Just a quick question. What's the basis for the SANS scholarship model,
I'm sorry for the
without scholarship model for basketball?
really to be able to afford the opportunity, quite frankly. We knew that if we went forward with models that had scholarships, we didn't have the resources to be able to do that. And for a student to come into CSN, it's about $100 a credit hour. So it's about $3,000 to $3,500 a year, depending upon the load that they take. So in our scenario, a lot of our students fill out the FAFSA. They qualify for Pell. They also qualify for the Silver State. They qualify for the other awards. And quite frankly, then they can get into the Promise program. So many of our students that come and participate, our soccer kids, our volleyball kids, and our basketball kids will be able to come to school without paying any, if very little, out of their pocket to come to play at CSN.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions from regents in the room? Otherwise, we'll end with Chair DiCarlo if you have any comments.
Thank you, Vice Chair Lieberman. And thank you, Dexter, for your presentation and your passion for sports and our students. And yes, I'd be happy to join the Coyote Club.
Thank you, Regent.
So I can be a coyote, a lizard, and a wolf.
There you
all
go.
at the same time.
Our guys are filling out the form for you right now.
All right, send it up. Checks in the mail. You've heard
All
that
right.
before, right?
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Just a couple things. I was sitting here thinking what makes some of our universities athletes so successful, and it really is the boosters. And, you know, you're a community of lots and lots of people moving there that are retired, that when they do that, they don't bring their families with them. So they're, 60 plus old, and they're looking for stuff to do. So I noticed at UNR, there is some rabid older people that travel with the team, support the team, almost become, they almost adopt some of these team members. And I would think even TMCC too, reach out to the Welcome Wagon, the realtors, associations where they're gated communities. I'm sure there's like a clubhouse where you can get into that and maybe put a flyer there. I'm just thinking of marketing, this would be easy, low hanging fruit money for your program. So,
Thank
and the
you.
other thing, I would really appreciate if the community colleges would send the regents your schedules. So a lot of times we're in town. I don't even know you have a game. I guess I could look it up, but if I knew ahead, I could, arrange my schedule, because sometimes, especially in the late evenings, night, I'm looking for something to do. So that would be fun to go see the students. And no, I have not been to the North Las Vegas gym, and Dexter, I will do that coming up.
Thank you. We can help you with that, and we'll help you even put it on your electronics, Regent. It'll overlay right on there, and you'll be going, how come all these games are on my cell phone?
That's okay. Just add to the load. Thank you.
Thank you.
Three pointers are a big part of three pointers are a big part of basketball. With that in mind, Regent McAdoo has a short and brief third question.
I do. So as a regent looking at just athletics at all institutions, your comment about the officials posed a different question, because I figured $250, is that per official or is that per game?
Per official, per game.
All right. So then that takes my budget to $22,500. And I see the administrative budget is $23,000. So is administrative strictly officials?
No, ma'am, it's not. So, again, there's not 30 games that we have to pay for.
Okay.
There's probably 15 to 16 home games.
Okay.
And then the others we are on the road.
So you only
that's
have
about
to-
half of that budget. Yes, does that make sense?
It does.
Yes, ma'am. So that's about half of what that budget will be.
Okay. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Any closing remarks from anybody before we move on? Seeing none, we'll move on to
Thank you.
CSN multiple campus update. Vice President Martin.
Thank you, Vice Chairman. Margot Martin for the record, Vice President, Academic Affairs. Thank you again for the opportunity to present a more complete report on the progress of our multi-campus migration. As Dr. Z reported to you earlier in the year, we have our leadership team in place with the hiring of Dr. Sonia Pearson, Clarissa Cota, our Vice President and Provost for Charleston and North Las Vegas campuses, respectively. And here to present our report is Patty Charlton, our Vice President and Provost for the Henderson campus.
Okay, good morning, and thank you, Regents, and thank you, Dr. Martin. It's a pleasure to be here with you today. And as Dr. Martin had shared, she made the introduction of Dr. Pearson and Clarissa Cota. Wanted to just ask them to really briefly stand. Dr. Pearson is joining us from the Maricopa District in Arizona, and many of you know Clarissa Cota has been with the college for about 20 years. So they, sorry about that, Clarissa, it is 20 years. And so we are so excited to be here with you today to provide an update on the multi-campus structure. And so as many of you know, in February of 2018, we started this endeavor and this initiative on the multi-campus. And I joined the Henderson campus team at that time after being with the college for a number of years. And during that initial foundational timeframe, we really established the building blocks. Dr. Zaragoza joined us in August of 2018, and what was really beneficial for CSN is that he came to the college with that experience of having worked at a multi-college district, but also knowing what it would take to get us off the ground and moving forward. We had work sessions with not just our campus leadership team, our executive team, but also with our faculty senate chair. And so those progressed through the fall into the early spring. And in February of 2019, we launched the recruitment that brought Dr. Pearson and Clarissa to the table. And so that was a very comprehensive search process that was undertaken with not just college faculty, staff, and students being participants, but outreach to our communities at large. So both North Las Vegas, the Las Vegas community, members of the chamber, et cetera, helped us to solidify those recruitments. They began on July 1st of this year, and so we have been really cooking with gas, I would say, since that time. We are undertaking a very comprehensive process at the college in planning, and specifically focused on not only the draft CSN comprehensive strategic plan, but also tying to your goals. So each area of the college is completing what we call development of unit plans. And so we're undertaking a very comprehensive review so that all of our efforts in this multi-campus align with, again, President Zaragoza's strategic goals, following up with the Regents' goals as well. We've been focused a great deal on solidifying the organization structure as part of that phase one, and we're moving in now to our phase two, which is defining what we call the matrix structure. So while each of us are aligned on a campus in a service area, we are working across the institution with Dr. Martin and the academic side of the house, as well as VP Crisantho, Mary Kay Bailey, and others across the institution on the most effective and efficient structure. Several tenets that are really important to the multi-campus district, and particularly with the campus VPs, is that we have a cost-neutral development and expansion. We are seeking in all ways to avoid any duplication of positions, particularly at the executive level, but also aligning those commitments to the campuses, that we are transparent in our work, that we're inclusive in bringing all of our stakeholders together, and that we're providing those opportunities for growth and professional development for the different employees within the institution. So as I mentioned in this phase two, we're forging through on the matrix structure with the leadership team, and then also a very firm commitment from Dr. Z and working with VP Bailey is to do a resource allocation model based on the enrollments of students at our campuses, aligning on both our credit and non-credit side of the house, our facilities, and all aspects of the resources. We know that's going to take some time, but we're moving forward in that regard. Our structure under the multi-campus is very strategically focused, and I would call it, as you know with Dr. Z, very laser focused. So the common student experience is our number one priority, and that's making sure that we have an access and completion focus on every one of us on the campuses, within our leadership team, and actually across the entire institution. What's most important for our students is that they no longer, hopefully, as we move this forward, and Dr. Martin is actively engaged in this effort along with all of our deans, all of our faculty, and our department chairs on trying to reduce those challenges that students have in having to move from one campus to another to take classes. Now with that, that doesn't mean that we're going to stand up every program at every campus, but to the point that a student can complete their core general ed, they can get their courses where they live closest, and then have to go if they're interested in automotive, we're not going to duplicate that. Students will still go to North Las Vegas, but we're very focused on that efficiency, and that also requires additional faculty at some of our different locations. We are laser focused as well on our community engagement. Our communities are very excited about working with the college, not only just the municipalities, but our chambers, business and industry, and allowing CSN and asking us to be a big part of at the table when they're looking at their workforce needs, bringing new industries into the valley, and looking at the economic diversification as well. And then finally, enrollment management, positioning the campuses, all of the different sites and centers and locations, because each one of us has a service area that we are responsible for, but supporting those dual and concurrent enrollment efforts that were underway, connecting with the workforce and our non-credit programs, which is a huge opportunity for CSN. Just a quick overview. I think you've seen this slide before. This is basically the shell of what the campus organization structure looks for each one of us. You have your campus vice president. We have our administrative assistants. Those individuals that are at our different sites and centers, their support staff. So for example, I'm at the Henderson campus. We've got a Water Street location as well as the Green Valley Tech Center. And we have an individual that is responsible for that center. So that person reports through my organization structure. We're also in the process about to launch a recruitment for a student union manager position because our student unions are now open, and we'll show some pictures to you shortly. And then we've been working and engaged with the academic side of the house, particularly Dr. Martin and the deans, to have a dean responsible for both the workforce side of the house and a general education dean at each of our campuses. And I'll show you how that is dispersed throughout the institution in just a moment. And then working with VP Crisanto, aligning a campus student affairs officer at each of our campuses. So the deans, for example, at the Charleston campus, as many of you know, the Charleston campus is our hub for our vast array of our health sciences programs. So that dean is aligned with Dr. Pearson. And we have our education, behavior, and social science dean who's providing that support at Charleston. At Henderson, the advanced and applied, and the dean of math and science has moved in, and I'd like to say he's happy. He's still doing a lot of driving around the valley because all of these deans still have institution-wide responsibility. So they're still going to the different campuses, but they have a primary home, and that's the person that each one of us reaches out to in both the workforce area and the general education side of the house. So it's been a busy first quarter, as I had mentioned. We've done several things working with the rest of the college. For example, right now, we're in the process working with our faculty senate leadership, Dr. Martin, the whole executive team, and VP Crisanto as we realign the counseling area department within the multi-campus. They are reporting to Dr. Pearson at this time, but yet they are aligned with each of the campuses. And so making sure that we have a complement of counselors assigned and working on that organization structure, again, with our faculty senate leadership. Dr. Pearson is also working a great deal with Health and Sciences, VP Bailey, and Dr. Martin on the alignment of our dental faculty practice, which is housed at the Charleston campus. If you don't know, we have a full standing clinic at our Charleston campus. So if you need to get your teeth cleaned, need that root canal, come on to CSN. We'd love to have you. And then also we have been very actively participating and engaging again with our stakeholders across the college because there is, some uncertainty. What does this multi-campus mean for me? So we cannot communicate enough. So going to each of our employee groups, talking, I would say probably daily with our student leadership. We're all building some campus advisory groups so that we can have that on the ground feel, touch, and have faculty, staff, and students be an active participant in each of our campus operations and within our community as well. And then again, communicating not just through Dr. Zaragoza's newsletter, but we are a standing item on every one of our executive council, which meets weekly. And so we're trying to ensure that there's no questions that are lingering outside. And then again, very focused with our shared governance with all of our stakeholders. The community has been, as I mentioned, very receptive to having these people that are assigned to their different locations. And so these are just a high-level example of some of the work that we're doing with the community. We're engaged in some comprehensive conversations with Workforce Connections, which actually has their office right across the street from Charleston. But what a wonderful opportunity to have them embedded within each of our campuses, providing such critical support, not just with educational opportunities, but also with funding to help people that need it the most. So we're working with Workforce Connections right now to embed them within each of our student unions, along with our non-credit side of the house. Each one of us is working on various public-private partnerships, and I say that in the loose term of having industry at the table as we're looking at our academic programs, our non-credit programs, engaging with those so that we can have internships and hopefully some external funding that our foundation would love to have as well for equipment and scholarships. Dr. Pearson is working both with UNLV's public health pathways and with Clark County Social Services. And again, this is just one example of the things that are happening. In Henderson, I've been engaged a great deal with the chamber and the community and the city regarding the Health and Sciences building, which we were very successful because of a lot of support around the community on that. Many of you know that Haas Automation is coming to the Valley and advanced manufacturing. Basically, they're the manufacturers of manufacturing equipment, and CSN is at that table. As they look at building their workforce on the location, the different kinds of programs, working with the school district. And so we're very fortunate that the city wants CSN involved. And Clarissa Cota is deeply involved with the North Las Vegas community dual enrollment programs, including the CTE Academy at Cheyenne. So in summary, just some of the next steps that we're working on at this time is, again, focused on efficiencies. We don't, as we look at rolling out the needs for the multi-campus, where we see the greatest need is individuals, not at the executive level, but as individuals that work with a student every single day. I think we've got at least 11 advisors that are being hired right now. So having additional resources that we can strategize around our students and getting them to be successful, complete, graduate, transfer, and prosper is our top priority. We are realigning, working with how the structure of student services within the multi-campus looks like within, because these are people that are already at the campus, and working again with VP Crisanto and her team on how that aligns. We're integrating this one-stop model within our student unions. We are very fortunate that the students stepped forward to fund these fabulous facilities. And within there, we have an opportunity to embed a one-stop environment, the workforce connections, our counselors, and other critical services that students can get in one location. And again, as I mentioned earlier, a resource allocation model linking our overall institutional budget within the multi-campus and building that off of enrollment, primarily in space. And then we're continuing to staff up, filling every vacant position. And as I mentioned, 11 advisors is a lot to undertake, but we're really excited. Wanted to give you a quick student union update, because every chance we can, we love to talk about our student unions that our students built. They are completed, they were on time, they were on budget, and they are actively in use. We did our groundbreaking in May of 2018. We began actually going into the dirt in July of 2018. We built 3 simultaneously, 1 on each campus. We did a topping off ceremony last December at our North Las Vegas campus, and our construction was finished in August. And we'll be doing an opening celebration at the Charleston campus. We've kind of highlighted some key milestone at each of our campuses. This is a view from, and actually, thank you, Dave Morgan, our public relations and executive director. This was the first day of school when he had Dr. Z out at the campus at 4:30 in the morning. So this is a view from actually the baseball field where Dexter's team is housed, and a view on the inside. And if you haven't been in, and we're so excited to have all of you, whatever location you want to go to, please reach out to your campus VP and we'd be happy to help you. Do you have any questions for me?
Thank you very much for the presentation. When I came on the board, this was very much a theoretical concept, and I want to thank everybody for being so engaged in making it a reality for students, faculty, staff, and alumni. And that is your CSN team and our NSHE team, and I think it's a great thing. Regent Perkins has a question. Regent Carvalho.
Thank you, Vice Chair Lieberman. In terms of advising, are the advisors location bound or subject bound?
They are location bound, and I know that VP Crisanto is here if we want to, if you have any additional questions, but it's basically, there is a cadre of advisors that help students across the spectrum. We are in the process of rolling out a new advising model, and a great deal of case management is being done so that a student has a specific advisor, but I'm going to let VP Crisanto answer that.
Great.
Thank you. Good morning, Juanita Crisanto for the record. We do have advisors assigned at every campus location, and we are also assigning them by areas of study. And so the advisors will be focused on the areas of study that we offer. So as opposed to being assigned to schools, as they were historically, they are assigned to those areas. But the workload assignment takes into consideration the headcount of students at each campus location.
Other questions from Regents at the table? Regent DiCarlo, do you have any comments or questions?
Thank you, Vice Chair Lieberman. I really appreciate the update, and Patty, you did a great job giving that to us. I'm really appreciative that you went to a resource allocation model. All that tells me that everything you're doing is data driven, and it's when we follow the numbers that we really make sound decisions. And the fact that you're doing this in a shared governance model really emphasizes what we try to do as having one system, which is really great. I was part of the vote when we did the student unions. I remember that presentation by your former president, Mike Richards, and thought it was just a great model to go to. And I was very pleased that the students were willing to step forward. They wanted a student union, were willing to help fund it, and it quickly became a reality. And I haven't seen it yet. I was there for the topping off, but I can't wait to see the student unions. And it's really going to take each campus to a whole nother level of student engagement and a feeling of belonging. So really great update, and I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for the presentation. Moving on, IAC updates. Our IACs are doing very dynamic dialogues in their individual campuses and communities, and we've grown tremendously since this concept was added a couple of years ago. In lieu of IAC chair, can we please start with President Helens at Great Basin College for a brief update?
Thank you, Vice Chair. The IAC met on September 19th, and the discussion really focused around effectiveness and how can the IAC become more effective in promoting student success. The GBC IAC is very proud that they were the first in the system and have a history of effectiveness, but they realize times have changed, and now they're talking about promoting high demand occupational programs. And as Vice Chancellor McKinnon said, he had suggested this is the time to suggest changes. And I know everyone is different in the areas that we serve, but I think we're all concerned about how to be most effective for student success. So the good news is we do have proposed new members, and they'll be voted on at the next meeting in November. And also our current member, John Tierney, who is proposed as chair, will be voted on. And Mr. Tierney was Nevada Teacher of the Year back in 2016 before he retired. And he gives back to the community in many ways, but he's very excited about assuming the chair of the GBC IAC. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let's go to WNC and Rob Hooper. WNC, are you in the house?
I think the mic was off before you.
Oh, I'm sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Vice Chairman. As I was stating, I will attempt to be brief. Mr. Vice Chancellor, you will be appreciative of that, I'm sure. So anyway, it's good to see you all. The IAC met, our last meeting was on August 28th. And I might say that it was a really good meeting. Our membership remains very strong and reflective of the region that we serve, both from the business and from the government and from the primary educational front. So we're really happy with our members. And I might also add that we were very honored at our last meeting. We had 3 regents there. We thank Donald McMichael, Jason Geddes, and Carol DiCarlo for being at our meeting. And of course, Vice Chancellor McKinnon was there. And it was just really great to have that kind of input coming directly from the board and from NSHE into the community. And I believe that's one of the charges that we have as an IAC, is to have that two-way conversation going on. So that was very well received and appreciated by all members. We did at our last meeting get very good updates from President Solis and from Vice Chancellor McKinnon. They did provide meaningful updates, and again, everybody appreciated that. And I want to kind of chime in on what the Vice Chancellor said earlier. He brought to the members the request to look at our charge, which we've taken on very seriously and actively. Our next meeting, which is next week, we will be having an ongoing discussion about that to provide the report back to the system before December as requested. And I like it too, looking at it from a private side business point of view, because it's continuous improvement. And I think that's what we need to be involved in at all times. We want to perform at the highest level possible for the board and for our communities and for the institution that we serve. At the last meeting, to the end of having our members know more about what's going on within the various programs and departments at Western Nevada College, Emily Holworth made a presentation on our applied and industrial technology programs at WNC. It was a really good presentation. I found it quite interesting. We had two heads of manufacturing companies that we have as members on our IAC. Even though they work with the college a lot, I think everybody learned new things from her presentation. Again, I think fulfilling our charge. This is going to be a regular feature at our ISA meetings, where different departments and different staff members will come in, present what they're doing, and then ask for our advice. This comes back to making sure that the IACs and the institution have a two-way conversation going on, so that as an advisory council, we're actually providing the right kind of advice based on the needs of staff and faculty. Such as our industry listing sessions that we did over the summer. We want to have the IACs prevent it from becoming stale. We want to accomplish what we set out to do, and we want to provide advice, that is actually wanted. So we're going to continue on the continuous improvement pathway. We appreciate all the leadership that we're given from the system, and thank you for this opportunity to serve. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much. Back here in Las Vegas, we have our newest IAC chair, Randy Robinson from CSM.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. I just put myself on the clock, so this will be brief.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. It's a pleasure to be here, and I appreciate the opportunity to launch on this new endeavor. With each passing week, I'm understanding more and more of what has been done to me, and it's all good. Learning a lot, but it's fun. Just a couple of things that I would mention about our IAC. Our last meeting, of course, we elected a new chair. We also elected a new vice chair, Mr. Peter Guzman, from who happens to run the Latin Chamber of Commerce here in Las Vegas. Very dynamic leader, and looking forward to working closely with him and the rest of our IAC. We had a number of folks re-up, and so we're good to go for the next few years. And Vice Chancellor McKinnon was at our meeting as well, and asked us to thoroughly review the charge that the IAC has, as he mentioned earlier in the meeting, and so we're engaged in that. And at our next meeting in December, we'll discuss that more thoroughly amongst ourselves. My personal goal is to get each of our IAC members more personally engaged and invested in what we're doing as a council and become a much more of a truly value add for our institution, the College of Southern Nevada, which happens to be, if I'm correct, has the largest student population of degree-seeking students of any higher ed institution in the state. So that's a pretty big challenge for us, and we're looking forward to seeing how we can help those students succeed and become better in their lives and eventually better employees and members of our community. So we're excited about that. And that's pretty much my time. I would say, just in closing, having been on the IAC here from its inception, Dr. Richards, our former president, did an amazing amount of work. Dr. Zaragoza is not one whit behind him, and his the renewed focus and energy that he has brought to the institution is just amazing. And so we're looking forward to some great things ahead. Thank you, Mr. Vice Chairman.
Thank you very much. Item number 10, Community College Campus Initiatives and Updates. We will start with Western Nevada College.
Good morning, Regents. Vice Chancellor McKinnon, Vince Solis for the record. We have some updates from Western Nevada College. First, I'd like to report out that the enrollment for the fall semester is way up compared to last year. This is the first time in about 10 years that we have actually stopped our slide and have grown our enrollments. We are proud to announce to the board and to this committee that we are up by 12% in our head count from last year to this year. A lot of work has been done in re-engaging our students. It's also a lot of work that's been done on the enrollment student services side and on the instructional side to make that 12% jump. We're looking forward to continuing that into the spring with a fall session that we will be launching this year. And we continue to look at other ways of growing our enrollments for the spring semester and keeping this momentum moving forward. I'm also pleased to announce that we are completing the first week of training for the teachers that have come in from Mexico. That is being completed today. All of the funds that were derived from that training from the teachers in Mexico go back to buy equipment in our lab. And we have maxed out at the 8 participants that we can have. And we're very proud of the partnership that we're growing with those individuals. As you know, in the discussions that we've had, they're converting their curriculum to English. The reviews have been rave all week long, and they're very impressed with the level of instruction and the hospitality Nevada provides to our visitors. We also had an accreditation visit that took place earlier this month, and reporting out everything seemed well. We will have an official report back, but the comments from the reviewer that came to visit it were very positive, gave us a few suggestions on improvement, but all in all, a very positive visit. I'm also very pleased to announce that our prison education program is booming. We have actually more than doubled the number of students that we have in that program for this semester. That's in no large part thanks to all the work that has been done with the governor's office to provide us the funding for scholarships. So we are using that to our max capacity. And as mentioned, have doubled the number of students in that program. We had our annual golf event where we had a total of 36 teams, 144 participants, and it was maxed out. Vice Chancellor McKinnon, former defending champion, and his team this year came in second. So not sure what happened there, but they were off from winning the event by 1 stroke. So I do want to thank them for coming out and supporting the event. It was a sold out event, extremely positive for the campus, and we had a tremendous outpouring of support from the community at that event. We were also recently recognized with 3 regional medallions for our marketing efforts in our approach to reaching students by the Council of Public Relations for Community Colleges. And I'm also pleased to announce that part of our growth, a large part of our growth for Western Nevada College is also done at the Fallon campus. They are up by about 21% in their headcount and about 30% in their semester credit hours. So there's a lot of work being done in our rural communities to ensure that the citizens of Nevada have access to education at Western Nevada College. We are preparing for the Nevada Day Parade, which will take place on the 26th, and we have a large contingency of folks from the college that will be representing the college there. We will be joined by Regent Del Carlo and by our very own Vice Chancellor Nate McKinney, who will be the voice of WNC at the event. We're preparing a PA system for him, and we've got some other treats. We will be unveiling our new mascot. We still have the Wildcat, but he's gone, as we talked about yesterday, to the spa, and he's got new clothing. He's got some tender loving care, and we will be unveiling him there at the Nevada Day Parade with a new mascot for the campus. I would encourage anybody who's interested in some of the finest art and performance in Nevada to visit our show Matilda, which will be taking place November the 8th through the 24th. We will have 11 performances that month. And if you like live performances, I encourage you to visit any one of ours. Matilda's going to be amazing, and we're looking forward to having everybody on campus. And as mentioned earlier in a previous report, we launched our new website in July, and has been a big part to how we are rebranding the institution in the community. Members of the board, Regent Del Carlo and Vice Chair Lieberman, that is my report at this point.
Thank you very much, President Solis. We'll go to Great Basin College and President Helens.
Thank you. Well, this year, or this semester, we're up in enrollments again. And we believe it's directly related to the implementation of our new enrollment management plan. But since the last count year, we are up 22% in FTE, which is great news for us. We also just completed a communications plan, and now we'll begin discussions on a technology plan. We've also just completed very successful accreditation visits on our emergency medical services, our radiology, and most recently nursing. And now we're preparing for the college-wide accreditation that comes in March. One thing that I'm extremely proud of is the staff over the summer, the student affairs staff, took a look at the backlog, and after we identified the bottleneck of transcripts, we had so many new students knocking at our door. And with a 2-week push, they increased the processing of transcripts by 47%. And I also believe that this is what contributed to the continuing climbing enrollment. So we've identified the issues and we're really taking care of them. And that makes us a healthy, sustainable institution. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you very much. CSN Vice President Martin.
Good morning again. Mr. Vice Chairman Lieberman, Chair Del Carlo, Regents, Vice Chancellor McKinnon. Good morning, and Margot Martin, Vice President for Academic Affairs at CSN. Want to thank you for the opportunity to present CSN highlights for this reporting period. To begin, want to take the opportunity to announce our new Chief Information Officer has been selected, and that's Magunth Vaithalingam. Magunth has actually worked at CSN for quite some time as an Ellucian employee assigned to CSN for more than a decade. So he's quite familiar with our Office of Information Technology Operations. He assumed his CIO duties on October 1st. On a related matter, we are in the final phase of our search for the AVP and Chief Human Resources Officer. We anticipate interviews will begin later this month, and as always, we'll keep you informed of those developments. Our fall enrollment is at 35,822, and we expect we will reach more than 36,000 enrollments by the end of the census period. Our current FTE is at 19,531, and we are hoping to exceed the 20,000 threshold as well. So we are definitely increasing. This represents our 4th consecutive year of fall enrollment and FTE growth. We think that much of this is a result of the effects of Nevada Promise, in addition to the fact that we've been able to double year over year our dual enrollment impact. Would also like to thank Chair Geddes, Chancellor Riley, Chair Del Carlo, and Vice Chair Lieberman, as well as the many other regents who participated or attended the Hispanic and Minority Serving Institutions Symposium held at CSN's North Las Vegas campus on October 3rd. This successful symposium examined national best practices for closing the minority performance gaps and provided informational updates from top state and national experts, such as Dr. Beatrice Ceja, National HSI Director for the Department of Education. Information and legislative updates were provided by U.S. Senator Jackie Rosen and Congressman Joaquin Castro, Chairman of the U.S. Hispanic Caucus. And a special kudos to Vice President Provost Clarissa Cota and her team for their remarkable job in planning and executing this event. We now have 3 fully functioning food pantries located in each of our new student unions. These pantries were made possible by a $300,000 grant from the University of Nevada Cooperative Extension. They are being run in cooperation with 3 Square Food Bank and the CSN student government. I'd also like to remind you to please mark your calendars for the official grand opening of our new student unions, which will take place at the Charleston campus on Tuesday, October 29th from 1 to 2 p.m. In addition, we will also be holding the naming ceremony for the Tyrone Thompson Student Union at our North Las Vegas campus on Thursday, November 14th at 5:30 p.m. And I'm concluding Dr. Z's report by publicly thanking outgoing CSN IAC chairwoman, Dr. Nancy Brune, for her dedicated service to CSN during her long tenure as chairwoman. As you know, we have a very effective IAC at CSN, in great part due to her tireless leadership. I also want to congratulate our 2 new CSN IAC officers, Mr. Randy Robeson as chair and Mr. Peter Guzman as vice chair. And that concludes CSN's report for today.
Thank you. Before we move on, I just want to highlight 2 things that Dr. Martin mentioned. One is a shout out to everyone system-wide who worked on the HSI, MSI task force. It was something we hadn't done before. It is something very relevant to where we are going and where we need to go in the future. And we had lots of national representation from that movement, and they did take notice of our engagement and region participation in that. So I want to thank Edith Fernandez and Carissa Cota and Joy Holliday and everybody at NSHE who made that happen. And also the Diversity Summit at UNLV was absolutely tremendous and very, very meaningful for students, faculty, staff, alumni, and the community members who took the time to participate. Also, the food pantries are something that we have to focus on and have to really make a priority in this world that we live in. And I thank everyone who has made that possible for those to come up in such a seamless way. President Hilgerson, if you would take this agenda item home and take the next one, it's all you.
Oh, okay, great. Thank you. So is my PowerPoint up because it's a little hard for me to see?
Yes.
I'd like to start my presidential highlights with and I will be very quick. I'm actually timing myself, but I would like to focus almost entirely on some of the capital work that has been done at TMCC, because quite a lot has come to completion in the last couple of months. So I thought it would be a good opportunity. So the first thing is the parking lot project, and I hope the slide of the parking lot is up.
It is.
The total cost of the parking lots, the Dandini project, we pretty much reconstructed any problematic parking at TMCC Dandini, and the total cost of that came in at around $988,000. And in addition to that, we did $82,000 worth of parking lot work at our Meadowood campus. So we are so pleased with how that turned out. It really looks brand new. And I will add that that was money that the Board of Regents released from the operating pool dollars. We could not have done it without you. The parking lot construction at Dandini also included some major drainage fixes that were becoming a significant problem for the campus. So this was truly just-in-time construction, and we're just so glad that we managed to get it done in the money that was allocated. Next slide, our Learning Commons, Phase 2 is now complete. Phase 2 came in at about $2.1 million. I will add that we did have some small private donations for that project, totaling around $57,000. It is absolutely beautiful, and it really blends the function and the form of what a library and a research center and student collaboration room and nice chairs to plug in your cell phones and other mobile devices. It merges it all together into a beautiful learning commons space, and where tutoring is centralized, by the way. I know many of you have seen it, but if you haven't, I encourage you to pop by next time there's a meeting at TMCC. I will also move on to veterinary technician. Our health science center south of town was becoming very crowded and congested. So we made the decision to move veterinary technician to Meadowood with lots of help from the Pennington Foundation. In fact, approximately $715,000 of Pennington support. That project came in at $1 million, a little over. It is absolutely marvelous. I can't wait to show it to you. And I think the veterinary technician department and team are really happy with the results, and hopefully they'll be in there. I think the certificate of occupancy was hopefully this week or Friday of last week. So it's happening as I'm away. So the next one is the dental hygiene lab. I think it's again, Pennington support of approximately $1.7 million. The total project cost came in a little more than that. One of the things that's important about this project is it expanded our capacity for dental chairs. And that capacity is extended to a partnership with our veterans, our Adopt a Vet program. So our folks who have served in the military, who work with the Adopt a Vet program, can come to TMCC and avail themselves of free dental care with our faculty, with our students, and with our dentists who help with our program. It is a marvelous facility. Finally, or almost finally, our certified nursing assistant, we moved that to Meadowood. They were so crowded at Dandini. They were just crunched. Now they have a beautiful simulation lab at Meadowood. They're thrilled. That project came in at about $405,000, almost $406,000. We are in the process of finishing touches on the Sierra building lobby. This is right outside the Learning Commons. And now we've taken what used to be a very outdated, kind of dark space into a bright lobby. And it's so fun to see the traffic and the students use both the Learning Commons and the library. And finally, the last project, we will be having a small celebration, I think next week, if I recall, October 22nd, I believe, on our new sculpture garden. We don't have a lot of art on campus, and we were so happy that I convened a committee of people interested in art, our art department, community members. They selected 3 pieces. We gave them a budget. One of the pieces was a beautiful David Boyer piece. David Boyer is a former student of TMCC. He learned his welding at TMCC. The piece was a Burning Man piece, and it's pictured on the slide. It moves with the wind, absolutely gorgeous. I think that TMCC, we've done a lot, and we are such a great example of make it pretty, and they will use it. And so what we're seeing now is students spending a lot more time on our campus in some of these really great spaces, and we're very happy about that. I'll close by adding a couple of little points. In the last month, we had our 10th annual Legacy Scholarship event. 552 students are on scholarship this year alone. So to date, we've given out about $617,000 worth of scholarships for this term, and more is on the way. So we're making great progress with our scholarships. And since there's so much mention about websites, I will also add that TMCC, under the direction of Elena Bubnova and a team of people from our our communications office spent probably about a year, maybe even a year and a half, developing what is now a gorgeous website. And so if you haven't clicked on it lately, it's pretty fun. It's definitely at a whole new level than the old one. And our MCO, again, at our department, led by Elena Bubnova, won 5 regional awards from the National Council for Marketing and Public Relations. And one of those awards was for our new website. Also, awards were given for the Fast the Challenge campaign, If You Love Your Pet campaign. And it was just, we're really proud of the MCO office for these national awards. With that, I will close and I will segue into the marvelous BJ North, TMCC Institutional Advisory Council Chair. BJ is the Executive Vice President and Chief Banking Officer for Plymouth Bank. Take it away, BJ.
But I am delighted to be here. Thank you, Dr. Hilgerson, and thank you, Vice Chair Lieberman. I'd like to also thank you for the opportunity to represent the IAC Council for TMCC and just present a few highlights of the work that's been done through the council, but most importantly, showcase our successful online education program, our growing partnership with Nevada State High School, and a faculty initiative to improve the course rigor. Brandy Scarnati, Web College Program Director, will share those details shortly, but I just want to give you, before she speaks, I want to just give you a few updates. IC's council is excited about the launch of the TMC soccer team and its success. We're really looking forward to the opening of the sports and fitness facility in January. These initiatives have brought a new and dynamic dimension to TMC and to the community. It gives the community something more to get excited about, to be engaged in, and to rally behind, and also, more importantly, to get to know the college on a different level. We're enthusiastic about the EATS program. The project, it was approved by the Regents in 2017. It has been renamed the East View, and through that, a new case of support outlines a stronger focus on emerging technology fields and entrepreneurialism. I heard Regent Del Carlo talk about the importance of technology. From a business perspective, we need to have high technology programs, and entrepreneurialism provides great opportunities for entrepreneurs, and we need to grow our own to become a vital and stay a vital community. So this is a very important project. We have good news. Enrollment is up in both headcount and FTE from the last snapshot year. Recently, our AIC members reviewed and discussed the history of AIC and why it was formed, including a review of the legislative intentions of the council. The discussion helps to align the purpose of the council with the actions we recommend to TMC. I look forward to working with Dr. Hilgerson, the TMCC leadership, Chair Del Carlo, and Vice Chairman McKenna on these initiatives as we move forward. From this, we'll determine the appropriate topics, develop a more robust system to review, and ensure movement on important initiatives that can be supported through the council. We'll continue to encourage leadership from input from leadership, staff, and faculty as we move forward to determine and be aware of challenges and issues that they are working towards and feel are very important to their success. And we will also discuss and determine how is best to bring forward the community needs and thoughts. This is a key component of IAC, and this needs to be something that we are constantly working with and through. Today, we will highlight 3 TMC programs which are integrally, I'm sorry, I can't say that word very well, entwined to result in a more and high quality opportunity for students and increased enrollment. It's my pleasure to introduce Brandy Scarnati, Web College Program Director. She is going to share with you the growth of the Web College platform. It began in 1999 and now includes 20 complete online programs that serve more than 5,000 students. And I remember when I was at the college in between 2001 and 2004, the online program was really starting to just get movement. Now everything is online. Everyone is going technology and going online. So this is a critical program for our outreach, for our student success. TMCC's partnership agreement with Nevada State High School that has helped expand opportunities and increase online enrollment. And she will share with you how TMCC faculty are using Quality Matters, an online peer review process to improve the quality of all courses online and in person. And this is something that I know from a business perspective, this is critical. I always am concerned about the quality of online courses that my team members are taking. So I'm really excited. And so the members of IAC are excited to see this improvement, to see faculty and peer reviews in the process. At this time, I would like to invite Brandy Scarnati to the podium to give a presentation on TMCC's Web College. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
So good morning, I'm Brandy Scarnati. I'm the program director of our Web College program at Regents Community College. And if we can fast forward to slide number 3, please. So yeah, let's start with the Web College basics. So as BJ stated, back in 1999 was around the first time we offered an online course. And frankly, it was really organically grown from our faculty. Back then, we did a lot of cablecast classes. And those innovative faculty decided, hey, let's continue to move forward in technology. So that's what we did. Now, TMCC offers 20 complete online programs, 1 bachelor's degree, 12 associate's degrees, 4 certificates, 3 skills certificates. And we now have all the necessary resources available to our online students. So our online learning management system is Canvas, which all other NSHE institutions use, so that's awesome. But we also have within that built-in online tutoring support for our students, virtual proctoring if needed, academic advisement. We also have web conferencing system built inside of Canvas, so if students are taking Spanish or communication classes or classes where they need to do presentations, there's a built-in web conferencing system that the instructor and students can use. Also a built-in video system where students and faculty can create videos and integrate directly into their class. And I just want to mention, one of our main focuses is also getting students off to a good start. So we always try at the beginning of each semester to send out an email to our students. We have created an online getting started tutorial for our students within that email. And then within the first week of the semester, we also send out text messages to our students. So those students who have not logged in within the first 2 days of the semester, we send them a text message to remind them to log in to get started. So that's greatly improved our getting started first week of the semester. Next slide, please. So some Web College statistics. As of fall 2019, we have 207 online courses. 30% of all courses have at least one online section. We have 375 online sections, which is 24% of sections are taught online. And this one, I think, over 5,000 students taking one or more online sections. So that's 46% of our students who are taking at least one online section. And just to briefly digress a little bit, students are really asking for that. So within Canvas, when the schedule is created each semester, we automatically populate a Canvas course section for every single class, whether it's online, face-to-face, or hybrid. And that really came from our students. Our students came into the office asking, hey, my instructor's teaching political science face-to-face, can they use that Canvas Assist, post my grades, or add the handouts after the end of the semester. So that growth of everyone using Canvas on campus has been amazing. Next slide. So our 10-year growth from fall 2010 to fall 2019, increase in students enrolled in one or more online section, 35%. We're now up to 46%. Growth in courses with online options was 23%. We are now at 33%. And the increase in courses with all sections offered online went from 17% to 24%. I also want to mention that one of our main focuses in the Webb College department as we continue to grow is also to ensure we retain our students. So I'm really happy to report that in spring 19, we were only a 5% difference from our online classes. So we were at a 75% retention versus a 80% retention for face-to-face courses, and that's something to be really proud about. Next slide, please. So as BJ stated, we do have a partnership with Nevada State High School, and they were looking at our EPY course. So our EPY course is one of our flagship courses that's offered at TMCC. It's centered around educational, career, and personal development. So it's the Create Success in College and Life Success course. And within that, in spring, we offered that EPY class both face-to-face in some of the high schools as well as online. We had approximately over 600 students enrolled and about $104,000 generated in registration fees. This fall, 2019, we actually have 25 online sections of EPY 101 that we are delivering to the Nevada State High School in Clark County. And I'm going to talk about Quality Matters in a minute, but I want to give a shout out to one of our lead instructors, Melanie Purdy, who created that EPY 101 class, which is Quality Matters certified, that all of those faculty are using to conduct that course. Next slide, please. So Quality Matters, TMCC became a member of Quality Matters in 2006. Quality Matters is a nonprofit quality assurance organization, and it focuses on quality of online learning. So within the Quality Matters organization, they have numerous educations involved in this, and they've created a Quality Matters rubric. So within that rubric, there are 8 general standards and 42 specific review standards. And this is the rubric that we at TMCC really follow when we're creating all of our online courses. So within this rubric, the different 8 general standards, the first one is course overview, the second is learning objectives, the third is assessment and measurement, fourth is instructional materials, the fifth is learning activities and learner interaction, the 6th is course technologies, the 7th is learning support, and the 8th is accessibility. So using these standards, that's how faculty will start creating their online courses. Now, faculty will go through either the Quality Matters rubric course or the Improving Their Online course, which we can teach at TMCC. They then become certified in that Quality Matters rubric. And then the next step is they put forth their course to Quality Matters, which is a peer-centered review. So they submit the course review, it goes to Quality Matters. Within Quality Matters, the institutions will pick a subject matter expert and the Quality Matters lead, and then a faculty from another individual. And those 3 individuals review the course. So they get that peer review process. If the course has to meet all of the essential standards and complete within 85% to become QM certified. And it's a work in progress, so it's not you either do it or you don't. Once you submit it, they provide feedback, the faculty can update things necessary, they submit it, and then it can become QM certified. TMCC currently has 24 QM certified courses. Next slide, please. So some of the benefits of using QM is improved student learning outcomes and retention. And also it creates a standard for online course navigation. That's, a major concern for TMCC. We have so many students using Canvas in our online courses, and having a standard navigation for them to use is crucial for them to get a good start. I always refer to your grocery store. You go to certain grocery stores because you know where that item is. It's kind of the same concept in your online class. When students log in, they want to have that ease of navigation so they can just get right into the curriculum. Also, the QM benefits is continuous quality assurance process that includes faculty training, course development, independent peer review, and course revisions that are aligned with the accreditation standards. Opportunities to engage in benchmarking activities with peer institutions, ongoing professional development, and increased efficiency in using instructional resources. And I'm proud to say that TMCC, we currently have 113 faculty, both full-time and part-time, who have gone through the Quality Matters, either the rubric course or Improving Your Online course. So next slide. With that, thank you again for your time, and I look forward to continue to grow the Webb College department and move forward. And if you have any questions.
We'll open it to the Regents table now for questions on this presentation and the IAC updates and campus initiatives. Are there any questions? Regent Carter.
Sure, I really appreciate all the conversation today about enrollment management. I've been on the board for a few years, and I don't recall that even being a topic in the community college committee, that first year. And enrollment management can mean different things to different institutions, whether it's coming up with a new website or coming up with new processes, coming up with a new way to apply. And it's great to see that all the institutions are working on that. And we're starting to see some of the results with increased enrollment. So it's the presidents, it's the institution, it's the faculty buy-in, it's changing culture. It takes a lot to do that, but it's great to hear all this conversation about enrollment management.
Any other questions or comments at the table? Chair DiCarlo.
Thank you, Vice Chair Lieberman, and thank you, Regent Carter, for your comment. I agree, and it all ties into our 5 strategic goals and the fact that this is a count year. So it really forced all 4 colleges to really drill down and look at the numbers versus budget. And it's really great what they're all doing. I'm really happy about that. I just have a couple of questions on the QM. Is that right? QM? Quality Matters. Is that a program that TMCC came up with and called it that, or is that a vendor, or is this a national standard base? And I'll also ask, so you can answer all together, there's 24 classes out of the 207 classes that are online or QM certified, which gives you 11.6%. So is this something that you're measuring and you're continually going to do the other classes that aren't? Thank you.
This is, thank you. This is Brandy Scarnati. So Quality Matters is a nationally recognized nonprofit organization. So there are many different institutions that are involved with Quality Matters. And within the question directly, so currently like I stated, we have 24 courses that are QM certified. However, like that EPY 101 course, it's certified, but that course is used by over 25 sections. So yes, within our department, we have kind of a sequence of faculty. They have to first attend the Canvas training to be able to use the learning management system. And then they teach the course. Within Quality Matters, you have to teach the course for at least one semester. So you know the ins and outs of it, you know what you need to adjust. And then they attend either the Quality Matters rubric course or the Improving Your Online course, which is basically goes over the Quality Matters rubric, but they actually, I kind of think this one's better because they actually work on their course as they're going through that rubric. And then once they've gone through that course, they come back and meet with our office. We go through the course and then we submit it to Quality Matters. So yes, we're always in that process of continuing to receive more certification in our courses that we offer online.
Vice Chancellor McKinnon.
Thank you. I just want to echo what Brandy's saying in the Quality Matters. Quality Matters really is the gold standard in the country for really ensuring that when we put a course online, that it is teaching the information that's needed, it is of high quality, and so that we know that a student who goes through one of those courses truly has a fantastic experience in learning the outcomes. Not to say without that can't be achieved, but the process that Quality Matters uses really is the gold standard. And in fact, I think it's another great example of an opportunity where we might want to explore shared services because they have consortium pricing. And not only for the community colleges, but perhaps for all of our institutions would be something to look at, because I know even for smaller colleges like Western and GBC, the individual pricing can be challenging. And we actually, we're just talking with GBC about that the other day. And there's a lot of benefits to being members and receiving the updates and subscribing to it. And so I think this would be a great opportunity for us, not only as community colleges, but as 7 degree granting institutions with online programs to look at the possibility of shared services.
Thank you to all the institutions, the IACs, and their combined leaderships for these reports. We'll move into the final agenda item, which is new business. Are there any new business items for consideration on future agendas? Seeing none, we'll move into public comment. Is there any public comment in Reno?
No public comment, Reno?
Is there any public comment in Elko?
There's no public comment from Elko.
Is there any public comment here in Las Vegas? If not, thank you to our NSHE staff. Thank you to Vice Chancellor McKinnon. Thank you to all of you for the work that you do, not only by being here today, but throughout the year as we move these issues forward. And this meeting is adjourned. Thank you.